The large classroom was silent. The lights above gave off a soft glow, and the walls were smooth metal. Dozens of cadets sat in neat rows. Some were human, some were robots, and a few were aliens. All were dressed in clean uniforms. This was not a normal school. This was the Interstellar Strategy Academy. Clara sat in the front row. She had sharp blue eyes and brown hair tied back. She was known for her calm mind and strong ideas. Even though she was young, people listened when she spoke. Her uniform was neat, and her tablet was ready on her desk. The lesson today was hard. The topic was war. The teacher, a tall woman named Commander Ellis, stood at the front. She spoke in a clear voice. The question today is simple. What if war is inevitable? What if there is no way to stop it? The room stayed quiet. No one raised a hand. Some students looked at each other. Others looked at the floor. Even the robots paused. Commander Ellis waited. Then she said, "You may write your answer." Clara looked down at her tablet. Her fingers moved quickly. She wrote only 4 words. Then she stood up, left her tablet on the desk, and walked out of the room. Everyone turned to look. No one spoke. Commander Ellis walked to Clara's desk and read the screen. Her eyes widened a little. She read aloud, "Then don't lose." A quiet sound spread through the room. Some students gasped. Others smiled. Even the alien cadet with green skin nodded slowly. News of Clara's answer spread fast. In the next hour, her words reached other classrooms. By the end of the day, it was the most talked about message in the academy. People sent it to each other. Some teachers praised it. Others said it was too simple, but everyone remembered it. Clara did not speak about it. She sat alone in the dining hall. She ate quickly and left. Her friends asked her what she meant. She only said, "It's not about words, it's about actions." Later that night, Clara walked near the main deck of the station. Large windows showed the stars outside. Ships moved in slow lines. The station orbited a blue and green planet. It was peaceful now, but everyone knew it might not last. Clara stopped and looked out the window. Her thoughts were heavy. She remembered her older brother, who had died in a border fight 2 years ago. He had been brave. He had not lost. But still, they had not won. She wanted to change that. She wanted to prepare not just for battles, but for something bigger. Behind her, someone spoke. It was Captain Leo. He was tall, quiet, and respected. He had seen many wars. "You made quite a stir today," he said. Clara nodded. "I didn't mean to, but you did. But you were right. If war cannot be stopped, it must be won." She turned to him. "Then we need better plans, better training, better unity." "That's why I came to find you," Leo said. "You're being reassigned. A new mission needs sharp minds." Clara did not ask where. She only said, "When do we leave?" Leo smiled. "Tomorrow. Bring your ideas," she nodded. The stars outside seemed closer now. Somewhere out there, war was coming. Clara did not know when, but she knew one thing for sure. She would not lose. She would make sure no one else had to either. The next morning, Clara stood at Dock 9. She wore her gear and held a small bag. The air smelled like oil and clean metal, while ships came and went. The station was busy. Captain Leo arrived. He wore a long coat and nodded at her. "Welcome to the new team," he said. They walked together toward a small ship. It was old but strong. The name painted on the side was Falcon Edge. Inside, the team waited. There was Nora, a tech expert, with short black hair and bright eyes. She smiled at Clara. "I've read your work," Nora said. "You think fast. That's good. We'll need it." Next was Vec. He was from a distant planet. His skin was dark green, and his eyes were black and deep. He said little, but when he did, it mattered. Then there was Jason, the youngest pilot in the group. He wore a jacket with old flight badges. He looked at Clara and nodded. Leo spoke to them all. "We are heading to the edge of Sector 12. There is a problem there." "Outposts are going dark," Clara asked. "Who are we facing? Pirates? Rebels?" Leo shook his head. "No, we believe it is the Xarn." Everyone became quiet. The name was heavy. The Xarn were not like other threats. They were machines. Long ago, they went to sleep after a great war. Now it seemed they were waking again. The Falcon Edge flew fast. Clara sat near the front and looked at maps. She asked Nora to pull old data from past battles with the Xarn. They learn fast, Nora said. They copy tactics and improve. Every time you fight them, they're smarter. Then we don't fight the same way twice, Clara said. Jason laughed. I like her. The ship reached the first outpost. It was silent. The lights were off. Wires hung from the ceiling. There were no signs of life. Clara and the team moved through the halls. Vec checked for signals. Nora scanned the walls. No signs of battle, Nora said. But all data is wiped. Jason looked around. Feels like a ghost ship. Clara found a small piece of broken metal on the floor. It had markings from the Xarn. They had been here. They checked 2 more outposts. Both were the same. Silent, empty. No warning signal sent. No survivors. Back on the ship, Clara sat alone. She wrote notes and drew lines on her screen. She was building a plan. Leo came over. You think we can stop them? No, Clara said. Not yet. But we can delay them. We can learn. Leo looked at her screen. These are battle ideas. What ships? Not with ships, Clara said. With speed, misdirection, we hit and vanish. Nora joined them. You're talking about fast raids, small teams, not large fights. Clara nodded. They adapt to big attacks, so we don't give them one. We give them 10 small ones, all different. Leo looked at her. It's risky. So is waiting, Clara said. The crew agreed to try. Over the next days, they carried out test attacks on old training bots. Clara used different moves each time. Nora watched the data. Jason flew close to the edge of safe space. Vec gave few words but strong advice. When they copy you, you must change. Speak chaos. After 5 days, the team set out to a known Xarn scout base. They used old codes to enter without warning. Clara sent false signals from one side, while Jason flew in from the other. They placed small charges on key parts of the base. No one was caught. The charges exploded once the team was far away. The damage was not large, but it sent a message. The Xarn were not untouchable. On the way back, Clara sat beside Leo. This is just the start, she said. Leo nodded. And you may have just started something much bigger than you know. Clara looked out the window. Stars passed by in streaks of light. The war had not begun yet, but the first move was made, and it was theirs. Clara stood by the screen inside the Falcon Edge. Red lights blinked on the map. Each light showed an outpost the Xarn had taken. The red lights were growing. Jason leaned on a chair nearby. They're spreading fast. Clara nodded. We need to move faster. Captain Leo walked in. He looked tired but focused. We just got orders. High Command wants us to return. Return? Nora said from her seat. We're finally learning how to hit them. Why stop now? Leo held up a message pad. They want to speak with Clara. The team exchanged looks. Clara looked surprised. What do they want with me? They heard about your attack on the scout base, Leo said. They want to know more. The Falcon Edge turned back towards Central Command. During the trip, Clara worked on her ideas. She wrote every test, every move they had made, and every result. When they arrived, the station was busy. War signs were everywhere. Soldiers moved fast. Ships came and went without pause. Clara was taken to a meeting room with long windows and bright lights. Inside, several officers sat at a table. They wore medals and serious faces. One of them stood. You're Cadet Clara. We've heard your plan. Tell us what you know. Clara spoke with calm and clear words. She told them how the Xarn changed their moves after each fight. She explained how small, fast attacks worked better than big ones. She said the key was not power, but confusion. Some officers nodded. Others did not look impressed. One officer said, your idea is risky. We lose people every day. We cannot waste more. Clara replied, we lose people because we fight the way they expect. That must change. There was silence. Then a voice from the back spoke. It was not human. It was deep and slow. She is right. Everyone turned. An alien elder walked forward. He had pale silver skin and eyes like glass. His name was Elder Thal. I have fought the Xarn long ago, Thal said. They fear what they cannot understand. This young one brings new ways. We must listen. After a pause, the head officer said, "We will test this plan. You will lead a small unit. If you fail, it ends. If you succeed, we build more." Clara nodded. "We won't fail." Now back on the Falcon Edge, Clara told the team. Nora smiled. "Let's show them what we can do." Vec gave a short nod. Now the real work begins. They began training others. Small groups, fast ships, quick plans. Clara showed them how to move without being seen, how to trick sensors, and how to strike and vanish. Jason flew the first real mission. He led 3 ships to a supply station under Xarn control. They flew in low and fast, dropped false signals, and blasted the key power link. The Xarn tried to follow, but the ships were gone before they could act. The mission was a success. More teams joined. Every time they struck, they used a different method. Clara watched each result and improved the tactics. One night, Clara and Leo stood on the deck. The stars were calm, but their minds were not. "You started this with 4 words," Leo said. "Now look at it. You have built something strong." Clara looked at the stars. "It's not just me. Everyone is fighting now. But we need more. The Xarn will not stop." Leo pointed to the map. "Soon we will take back the main trade route. That will give us an edge." "If we hold it," Clara said. Later, she sat with Nora, Jason, and Vec. They shared a small meal and talked about old times. "We're not just fighting a war," Jason said. "We're building a way to win." Clara smiled, and this is only the beginning. Outside the ship, the stars kept shining. The line had been drawn. The humans and their allies were not running. They were standing, learning, and striking back. They were ready to forge the path forward, and they would not lose. The command center was filled with voices and screens. People moved quickly, sharing updates. Clara stood near a large map that showed moving dots across space. The war was spreading, but so were the raids. Her teams were making progress. Clara had been called again to speak before the council. She prepared her notes and walked with steady steps. This time, the room was larger, and more officers were present. Some were human, others were from alien worlds. The leader of the council, General Price, stood up. He was older, with gray hair and sharp eyes. "Your reports show progress," he said. "But some believe this progress is small. Too small." Clara kept her voice calm. "It may look small, but each mission weakens the Xarn. They don't know where we will strike next. We're building fear in them." Another officer spoke. She had golden skin and came from a desert planet. "Your teams are brave, but will it be enough?" Clara looked around the room. No plan is perfect, but doing nothing is not a plan at all. We must act, even when the odds are not in our favor. Some nodded, others looked unsure. Then Elder Thal stepped forward. "Her work has shown results. My people have watched the data. She is not only fighting, she is teaching others to fight better." After some silence, General Price said, "Very well. We'll support the expansion of your program, more teams, our supplies. But we expect real change soon." Clara nodded. "We'll have it." Back on the Falcon Edge, the team received the news. "They approved it," Clara said. "We can grow the program." Nora leaned back in her chair. "That's good. We can finally train more pilots." Jason smiled. "We'll need better engines. These ships are fast, but the Xarn are getting faster." Vec looked at the screen. "And we must move now." "The Xarn grow bold," Clara agreed. She sent messages to trusted officers and allies. In a few days, 10 new units joined the cause. Each one was trained in fast strikes and smart tactics. The Xarn soon noticed, launched a heavy attack on an important mining colony. Clara's teams moved in quickly. They used false signals to draw the Xarn ships into a trap. Then they attacked from 2 sides. The battle was hard. Ships were lost. But the Xarn failed to take the colony. It was the first major win for the Alliance. Clara stood on the ground after the battle. The sky above was dark, but the people were cheering. Survivors thanked her and her team. An old miner shook Clara's hand. "Thought we were done. Then you showed up. Thank you." She gave a small smile. "We're all in this together." Back on the ship, Clara checked on her crew. Nora had a cut on her arm but was fine. Jason had burns on his jacket but smiled through it. Leo entered the room. "You've done something big. They're calling this the turning." Clara looked surprised. The turning, the point where hope returned. Leo said, "The moment we knew the Xarn could bleed." Later that night, Clara stood alone in the control room. Stars shined outside the window. Her reflection stared back at her in the glass. She thought of the people saved, the ones lost, the long road ahead. She knew the Xarn would hit back harder. They always did. But now, the humans and their allies were ready. They were no longer running. They were fighting as one. Clara placed her hand on the glass. "Then don't lose," she whispered. The stars listened, and far away, the Xarn watched. Their machines ran tests. They changed their codes. They prepared for the next move. But this time, they knew the enemy was not weak. This time, the enemy had a plan. The Falcon Edge flew through a quiet sector of space. Inside, Clara studied the new maps. The Xarn had changed their pattern again. They were striking fast, then vanishing. It was harder to predict their next move. Jason entered the room. He looked worried. "We got a signal from Station 14. We're under attack." Clara stood up. "How many enemy ships?" "At least 10, Jason said. "And only 3 defenders." Leah walked in. "We need to move now," Clara nodded. "Get us there." The ship moved fast. Clara called the other teams. Only 2 units were close enough to help. She gave orders and prepared the battle plan. They reached Station 14 just as the Xarn broke through the outer shields. Fire and smoke filled the air. The defenders fought back, but they were outnumbered. Clara's team moved in. Jason flew low and fast. Nora guided the signal jammers. Vec took charge of the boarding group. Inside the station, the fight was sharp and quick. The Xarn bots were strong and fast. Nora moved toward the main power room to set up a blast that would cut power and give them time to escape. But then something went wrong. A piece of the ceiling broke off and crushed part of the control panel. Sparks flew. Nora tried to fix it, but time was short. She called Clara through the comm. "I need more time. This panel is locked. I'll stay and finish it. You get the others out." Clara paused. "No. We'll find another way." "There is no time," Nora said. "If we don't stop them now, they'll take the whole station." Jason's voice broke in. "Clara, we need to go. The Xarn are bringing in more." Clara closed her eyes for a second, then she gave the order. "All units fall back. Nora, complete the task. We'll cover you." Nora smiled. "Make it count." Minutes later, the station shook. A deep blast went through the walls. The lights went dark. Clara's team escaped with most of the defenders, but Nora was gone. Back on the Falcon Edge, the mood was heavy. Jason sat in silence. Vex stood near the window. Leo placed a hand on Clara's shoulder. "She saved them all," Leo said. "She knew what had to be done." Clara nodded, but her eyes were full of pain. She should not have had to do it alone. That night, Clara sat in the data room. She watched the replay of Nora's final moments. She studied every second, every movement. Then she opened her plans. She changed parts of the system. Nora's actions had shown a weakness, a delay in response time. Clara improved the system. She made it faster. 2 days later, Clara called a meeting. All team leaders joined by screen. "We lost someone brave," she said. "But we gained something too. Knowledge. We now know where our lines break. We fix that, and we keep moving." The teams nodded. No one spoke, but their faces showed trust. Jason stood after the meeting. "She believed in this. Let's make sure it matters." Clara thanked him, and she walked to the quiet room where Nora's tools were still placed. She picked up a small scanner and held it. She remembered Nora's voice, her ideas, her smile. She placed the scanner in her own kit. "You're still with us," she whispered. The days that followed were full of action. Teams struck more Xarn units. This time, faster, smarter. They learned from every battle. They kept moving. They kept fighting. And through it all, Clara carried Nora's memory with her. Not as a wound, but as a promise. They would not stop. And they would not lose. Clara stood near the command table. The map in front of her showed the Xarn's core zone. It was deep in a system full of black clouds and strange signals. No team had gone there before. It was time for the final plan. Captain Leo looked at her. Are we ready? Clara nodded. This is our chance. Okay. If we strike now, we can end it. Jason leaned on the table. I'm ready. We all are. Clara looked at her team. Faces tired, but eyes full of fire. She gave them a quick plan. We hit them from 3 sides. One group draws fire, another breaks the shield. Then we go inside. The fleet moved. Ships from many worlds joined. Each one had learned Clara's ways. Fast moves, no repeats. Smart strikes. They reached the Xarn zone. The sky was dark and full of strange shapes. The Xarn ships were waiting. Clara spoke to all units. Today we fight not to survive, but to win. Follow your teams, follow your training, and remember, do not lose. The battle began. Ships darted across space. Lasers flashed. Shields broke. Explosions lit the dark. Jason led the shield team. He flew close to the Xarn core, dodging fire. He dropped signal bombs that confused the enemy. The Xarn shield flickered. Then Jason flew in close. He sent a blast at the center point. His ship took damage. I'm hit, he said, but the shield is down. Go now. Clara and Vec took a fast ship into the opening, the past wreckage and smoke. The Xarn core tower stood tall, glowing with red lights. Inside, machines moved in cold lines. Vec used silent codes to pass them. Clara placed charges on the power cables. One Xarn bot spotted them. It moved fast. Vec stepped forward and pushed Clara behind him. He used a sonic wave that broke the bot, but he fell too. Go, Vec said. Finish it. Clara nodded. She reached the control node. Her hands worked fast. She sent a burst of data that filled the system. Then she ran. Charges exploded. Lights blinked and faded. The Xarn core went silent. Outside, the Xarn ship slowed. Some stopped. Others turned and drifted. Jason watched from his damaged ship. They're braking. It's working. Cheers came through the radios. Fleet pulled back. The sky began to clear. The war was ending. Back on the station, Clara stood in the hall. Leo walked up to her. You did it. Clara looked down, not alone. Jason gave us the opening. Vec gave us the chance. We lost many, but we saved more, Leo said. The council later sent their thanks. Clara did not ask for medals. She only asked for peace. She visited the quiet room. She placed Nora's scanner beside a small light. She whispered thanks. Jason recovered. He wore a patch over one eye now, but smiled the same. We made it, he said. Clara nodded. Yes, but peace is not the end, and we must protect it. The sky outside was bright, the stars calm. The war was over. But the lesson remained. When war is not a choice, then don't lose. Years had passed since the war ended. The galaxy had changed. Xarn were gone. Trade routes were open again. Peace had returned, but it was not easy to keep. Clara walked through the halls of the academy, the same academy where her journey had started. Young cadets passed her with bright eyes and fast steps. Some of them knew her by face. Others had only heard the stories. Inside the main hall, the walls were covered with pictures and medals. In the center of the hall, a large screen showed words from the past. It said, "Then don't lose." A group of cadets stood in front of the screen. One of them turned and saw Clara. That's her, the cadet whispered. That's Commander Clara. Clara gave a small smile and walked past. She did not stop. She had never liked titles or attention. Later, she sat in a quiet room. She was now a teacher. Her job was to train the next generation. She had no rank on her jacket, just a name. Leo visited sometimes. He now worked with the Peace Council. Jason flew ships that carried supplies between colonies. Vec had returned to his homeworld, spoke often to young warriors about the meaning of unity. Clara opened a message from Leo. It said, "A new threat may be rising near the outer belt. Nothing clear yet. Stay ready." She closed the message. The stars always held new dangers. That evening, she gave a lesson. The room was full. She stood near the board. Today we speak of choices, she said. Not about weapons, not about power, but about the reason we fight. A cadet raised a hand. Is it true you once faced the Xarn core alone? Clara shook her head. No one faces anything alone. There is always a team, always a price. Another cadet asked, how did you know we would win? Clara looked at them. I didn't. I just knew we couldn't lose. The room went silent. After class, one young girl stayed behind. She held a notebook. Your words. They made me join, she said. I want to help like you did. Clara took the notebook and opened it. Inside were plans, ideas for small units, maps of safe paths through dangerous space. This is good work, Clara said. The girl smiled. Oh, I hope I can make a difference. Clara gave the notebook back. You already have. Later that night, Clara walked outside the academy. The sky above was full of stars. She looked up and thought of those she had lost. Nora. Others. They had not died for glory. They had died to give others a chance. She walked to a small garden where a stone stood. The stone had names carved into it. Clara touched the name Nora and closed her eyes. She whispered, "You still guide me." A soft wind moved through the trees. The academy lights shined in the dark. The galaxy was still changing. New leaders were rising. New threats would come. But now, there were more who were ready. More who believed that losing was not an option. Clara returned to her room. She picked up a small metal badge. It had once belonged to Nora. Clara placed it on her desk. She looked out the window. Ships flew quietly across the stars. Peace was alive, but peace needed strength. And the strength was no longer hers alone. It now belonged to all who had learned, all who had trained, and all who would carry the message forward. What if war is inevitable? Then don't lose. And walk forward. Always.